Hi, it's a beautiful day in Cape Town. When I began my journey with wild animals, dolphins, tribal people, my heart led the way and my head caught up later. Often we think that we reason quite rationally when we lead our lives and feelings just fill in the gap. But Van Gogh reminds us that it's our feelings, our little emotions that are the captains of our lives and often make decisions on our behalf without us even realizing it. And he should know he cut off his ear. When I spent time with the wild dogs, it reminded me of our ancestors, and they used to live together as a group, as a team. They used to care about each other, care for each other, and they appreciated their environment, the nature around them, as a source of food, of shelter, of sustenance. When you see a wild dog pack wake up from a night's sleep or a mid-afternoon rest and prepare to go out for the hunt, there's all this greeting behavior that happens, and they're saying, I like you, you're part of my team, and hey, we're in this together. As I spent time with wild dogs, I started to begin to feel like something in my life was missing. It was a sense of family. When I was younger, I got sent to boarding school and my parents lived quite far away. I didn't see them for a long time. And often when the other boarders were out with family and friends, you'd find me in the chapel chatting away to God. He was the only available parent and he became a great friend. But it was a time when I grew quite an independent and pioneering spirit. But in my own family and around groups, I often felt like the outsider, like the ugly duckling. I began to realize in my future and in my life, I needed to find groups where I had a sense of belonging and I felt valued. Sadly, the wild dogs are an endangered species. They're actually the benchmark of a healthy ecosystem, and they're endangered because of our lifestyle choices, because of habitat encroachment. Estes says that wildlife and wild women have been endangered species for a while, that our spiritual lands, our soulful places, have been burnt and plundered and bulldozed, and natural rhythms turned into unnatural cycles just to please others. So when pristine wilderness spaces begin to disappear, it's a reflection that something wild in us is starting to fade. Do you know that we're pushing 100 species a day, 4 species an hour, into evolutionary oblivion? I guess in the end we're going to have to ask whether our intelligence was a great advance or a terrible mistake. As I was spending time with wild dogs, elephants, meerkats, mountain gorillas, white lions, bushmen, soaring with the dolphins, I was having an amazing time, but I was also growing to have really important personal and professional understandings. Essentially that good mental health and environmental sustainability go hand in hand. But I realized these insights weren't just for me, they were for other people too. So I invited other people to come on the same journey with me, and I created Nature Calls Adventures, which are tours with different species and the bushmen throughout southern and eastern Africa, and healing power of dolphin experiences in Mozambique. The only problem for me was that organizing tours is very time consuming, and I didn't have a great network of tour operators to market through. So when World Ventures approached me and said they really liked what I did and they would like my tours to become part of their itinerary, and they would do the ground operator work and the marketing, I was absolutely thrilled. At the time, they had a travel club of about 198,000 people and they were in 19 countries. Now they have a travel club of 500,000 people and they exist in 28 countries. What I found was, along with World Ventures came network marketing. I'd never done network marketing. The first thing people used to say to me, isn't this a pyramid scheme? Now, I mean, that is the most unintelligent question anyone can ask. Because everything's the shape of a pyramid. Whether it's a business, a church, whether it's a family. You know, there's someone at the top and other people below. So maybe they meant it's just the guys at the top that earn all the bucks. That wasn't true either, because I know a father and son team. The son is only 22 years old and he is already a millionaire. It's amazing. He earns way more than his dad. But the thrilling thing for me was that network marketing is like a wild dog pack. We hang out as a team. People are our greatest assets. Building relationships is good. And it's not like a corporate business where everybody is scrambling and competing with each other for success. And in a wild dog pack, the pups get fed first. And it's like that with network marketing too. The new people who come on board, they get a lot of support and nurturing because we want them to be leaders and entrepreneurs and teach other people to be leaders and entrepreneurs. We need leaders in our world today. And if we're not being a leader in something that we're good at, we're underachieving. I like the den part of network marketing. It's like that safe, secure place in training where you have very authentic leaders really giving you the tools and the good thinking, equipping you to go and survive out there, to go and succeed. You know, we only really moved away from being like clans when we started to want to possess land. So enter the lords and the serfs, the haves and the have-nots, the givers and the takers, and there's this big divide between the rich and the poor. It was also the breeding ground for all the isms: skepticism, racism, feminism, idealism, just to name a few. You know, we pray for peace, we petition for peace, but we're never going to have peace when there's this big divide between the poor and the rich. And that's what I like about network marketing as well. It's a great leveler like nature. Everyone can succeed. You just need to be determined, you need to be consistent, you need to have a dream, and you need to be teachable, because we need to move from an industrial age thinking into our information age way of thinking. And Robert Kiyosaki, who's written Rich Dad, Poor Dad, sold 28 million books and been on the New York Times bestseller list for more than 8 years. He talks about how most of us are still in the industrial age in our way of thinking when it comes to business. Our parents taught us, and we teach our kids, go to school, go to university, get a good job, and you're made for life. It's not true. Most people change jobs every 4.2 years. There's a lot of university graduates unemployed, increasing number of people who live below the poverty line, and who can retire at 65? You just can't afford to. So he talks about ways of earning money in that way of thinking, which is to be an employer or a specialist. An employer is somebody who runs that security, that lifelong job and the retirement package at the end. And as we've discussed, that's just not really a reality anymore. The employer who decides to go on his own and become a specialist usually is quite talented, quite skilled, but the problem is he's going out there on his own. And maybe S doesn't stand for specialist or solo, maybe it stands for slavery. Because you know what? Most of us in that category, we think we own our business, but our business actually owns us. We have no time. To be a big business owner means that other people work for you. So you can start working for a few days and you're still going to get paid. And if you're an investor, your money works for you. So both Kiyosaki and Trump say to make that transition from being an employer or a specialist to becoming a big business owner or investor, we need money. And the only way to make that transition is through network marketing. They advocate that is the best way of doing this. Why? Because you can start a small business that becomes a big business part-time. It isn't a big financial outlay. You get a lot of support from the network marketing company, and you don't need a lot of resources. You just need a computer and a cell phone, which most of us have anyway. But most importantly, you become your own boss again. You start to determine your future and you start to make it happen. You're starting to build leaders and entrepreneurs. You're starting to dream again. And Thoreau, who is an 18th century theologian, he says, if you walk towards your dream with confidence and start living that life you imagined, you will meet with unexpected success in the uncommon hours. You also start to be able to give back because you have more wealth, more finance, but you're also more emotionally filled up. Because in most network marketing companies, personal development is very high on the agenda. Because if you're not growing, well, your business is not going to grow either. But most importantly, it is a humane way of doing business. It's a peaceful way of doing business. And it's like being a wild dog